Audubon 2456.
Welcome everybody back to State of the Save. We are here with part 2 of our discussion on Spec Ops The Line. If you listened to the first episode, thank you for coming back and listening to episode 2 here. If you didn't listen to the first episode, you should probably do that so you know what we're talking about. If not, if you want to live dangerously, just hop on in, you know.
Imagine if you jump to part 2 instead of part 1. There's very specific reasons why you're here. Like, I want their thoughts on this ending.
Yeah.
Of this crazy game.
I feel like you are aware of Spec Ops The Line very intimately if you just jump to part 2.
Fair.
Yeah. But as you've already heard, Michael joining me today. I'm, of course, Eric. Michael, how you doing today?
I'm doing great.
It's Labor Day here in the States, so hopefully you didn't have to work in this capitalist society today. If you did, we apologize and hope your day went smoothly. But before we go back to the capitalist hellhole that we live in, we're going to spend the afternoon talking about some video games. It's a fun thing to do before we go back to our normal lives. Michael.
Yes.
Video games. We talked about, you had a couple games you wanted to talk about, and then one we both want to talk about. Mm-hmm. So let's go ahead and jump on into it. Let's talk about your first game that I have not played.
Yes. I bought a game for a trip on a plane. My wife and I took a vacation, and I needed a game to play on a plane. So I bought Neon White for the Switch.
Yeah, you mentioned that on the last show. Mm-hmm. You hadn't played it at that point.
Oh, I played a lot of it since then.
Yeah. Does it live up to the expectations? If I remember correctly, in the E3 show we did, when we talked about games coming out of E3 we were excited about, you were high on this one. Mm-hmm. Does it live up to the expectations?
Very much so. This is one of 2 Game of the Year contenders that I have played over the past few weeks that I'm going to discuss. Neon White is an incredible playing video game. It is the ultimate. I only have like 5 or 10 minutes to play. I can play a couple levels of Neon White, get the lay of the land, and maybe even like master them. So far, every single level that I've done, I've gotten the platinum medal on, because I keep playing the same levels for like the levels. So how Neon White works is a speedrunning platforming game combined with a light first-person shooter mechanic. Even though that's there, it's very much like not the ultimate goal. The enemies in this game are more like obstacles that you like. It's like the equivalent of doing like a Ninja Warrior course where you hit the button each time you complete a challenge. Like, there's another demon killed. There's another demon killed. Because ultimately, the levels are designed basically where you're speeding through, making sure you kill all the demons. There's a demon counter in the top corner, where you go through the levels, kill all the demons, and then you can clear the exit once you get them. So the ultimate goal is to figure out how to basically parkour across this level to speed with the weapon cards that you get, because weapons work on a kind of card system. There's a lot to it that I'm discussing here, because it's a lot to wrap your head around at first, but once you grasp it, doesn't feel as complicated as I'm like making out to be here.
I feel like a game like this requires the combat to be fairly deep, because you're replaying things over and over again to try to get better scores. Mm-hmm. The combat needs to be interesting.
Well, it's not necessarily combat, it's more like traversal, because you're picking up gun items, which will be like a pistol, but each of them has an alternate fire, which gives you kind of a mobility boost. So the pistol shoots like a pistol, is the weakest of the guns, but when you hit the alternate fire, it gives you a double jump.
Okay.
You have the assault rifle that if you hit, plants a bomb in the environment that will explode and knock away enemies, but it will also, you can use that to like launch yourself. Like it's a kind of like a speed boost.
Like a rocket
launcher.
jump?
Like a rocket jump, exactly. Okay. Then you have the shotgun, which gives you the ability to like do a charge in any direction. You have an Uzi, which will have the ability to, no matter how high you're up in the air, will allow you just to like fall down and stomp and create like a wave area of effect, and also the ability to like knock through doors. And then you have a marksman rifle, which is a very long range rifle, but you use to do that just like a really long dash in a direction. And those are all the weapons that I've unlocked so far. So it's mostly about using these abilities. You can only have like 2 equipped at a time, but you can have 3 of each type that you have. So you can have 6 cards total that you pick up in the environment as you're progressing through these levels. And ultimately comes a combination of using the gun abilities to knock out enemies and then using your traversal abilities to kind of leap through the environment and to knock out levels. So your first run of a level will probably be about maybe estimated like 30, 45 seconds, and then you want to get that to about 15 to 20 seconds to perfect the run, because you get to the point where you're playing the same level over and over again to maximize your speed and figure out how to knock away levels. And also help that there's a leaderboard system so you can see your friends' leaderboards and try to get to the top every single time, which that's the most fun.
Does it do any like the ghosting stuff that some games do, where you can see them moving through the environment and like
you can see yourself move through the environment? I can't see my friends' ghosts.
Okay, which that kind of makes sense, because it would be almost a way to mimic them. It would kind of
it would defeat, because if I knew their strategy, that would kind of defeat the game. Like, why are they going off over here? Oh, I can kind of see it. But what it has you do by not showing their ghosts, it allows you to figure it out yourself. Because when you think, oh, I maximized this level, but they're 10 seconds ahead of me.
Obviously, there's a major thing I'm missing here.
And then you figure it out and go, oh, I see what you did.
Yeah. Obviously, there's a major, there's some trick to this I'm missing. If they're 10 seconds ahead of me. If they're a second, maybe they're just slightly faster on their gunplay or, their parkour. So I can just, kind of try to run it a couple of times and try to beat it there. But if they're 10 seconds, obviously I missed something. So it kind of gives you that key hint to go back and look for it. Are the cards, you say it's like a card-based system, are the cards like a one-time use card kind of thing?
Well,
so like if
the bullets will give you have set ammunition for each card you pick up, but the ammunition will stack for each card you get. But if you use the ability, it discards that card. Okay,
so if you use the ability with the rifle, per se, and that's your last one you have, do you lose the ability to use that ability or that rifle? Can you stop using the rifle?
You lose both.
Okay, that's a cool kind of thing, because not only are you balancing trying to use the abilities, but you're also balancing the fact that, okay, I'm going to use this ability right here, and I might lose my rifle in the process.
And most of the abilities will also clear out enemies too. Like most of your dash abilities will clear out the enemies in front of you.
Okay.
Or like if you have enemies grouped together, a good stomp will knock out all of them, or a decently placed shotgun also could clear out those enemies too.
Okay.
So it's ultimately balancing how can I get through these enemies as fast as possible, and ultimately it like involves being like, do I save this? Do I just shotgun these enemies, or do I charge through them to be faster? Or just shotgunning them, I can jump and then use that charge ability to clear an even larger gap.
Yeah, exactly.
To get through. But then it's like, I missed a demon over there. How can I get that? Then you might be able to, with a weapon you picked up earlier in the level, you can maybe spot them to like a crevice, shoot them early on. So then I don't even have to go down that track anymore. Now I can just cut through this way and make a shortcut for myself.
I imagine there is a wonderful YouTube/TikTok community of people showing off their runs.
I bet there's a Discord of that.
There's got to be a Discord somewhere or something.
There might be one I want to see when I finish the game, and then just go in, friend a bunch of people, and then try to knock out their scores. Because Tanner, friend of the show, is the only one who currently shows up on my leaderboard, and I'm making it a point to crush every single one of his times that I see pop up. Because my main complaint with the game centers around the leaderboard system. On Nintendo Switch, if you do a run offline, which I did the first 3 mission chapters offline, you have to...
Well, you're on a plane.
On a plane. Got to play in airplane mode, exactly.
If not, the whole plane falls from the sky.
That's how that works. That's what I'm told.
That's exactly how it works.
But whenever I connected online, those scores didn't transfer.
Oh,
they only transfer, I guess, to prevent cheating. So they only transfer at the end of the run, meaning I had to go back. I wanted those scores posted. So I went back to all those levels and had to beat my best times, which is kind of fun to be figuring out how do I beat my current times.
Also, you're more experienced with the game at that point, so I imagine that maybe isn't that big of a deal in your particular case. But I imagine if you were playing this for a while and then played some offline. But I don't know what the walk around for that is.
To prevent cheating.
Yeah,
because
people would cheat and then... Now, I don't know why. Like, I mean, what's the big damn deal? Like, oh, you cheated. Cool, bro. You're the fastest time with your fake-ass time. But, I do understand why they have to do it like that, but I could see that being very frustrating.
And the second bit of frustration is notice I didn't talk about the story in this game at all.
Nothing about that game's story and presentation interested me.
The story and the presentation itself is cool. It's when characters open their mouths is when I hit the fast forward button as fast as possible, which is so strange to me because
you have a higher tolerance for
I do.
that kind of stuff than I do. So if you're having problems with it, it would just probably break my brain.
When a character says, "I'm serious, no cap," I'm like, okay. So the story and the dialogue give a sense of the not to delve too far into the story, but basically the setup is you are basically in purgatory. And every year or so, God runs a contest to see who becomes every once in a while, demons like cockroaches come to heaven. And so you need the professional exterminator to come and wipe out those demons. And every year there's a contest amongst the neons, the people who have been displaced from hell to we need a professional demon cleanup person. And every year we run a contest to see who lives in heaven for the year to be our custodian.
There's even a class system in heaven.
Basically.
Wow. That seems like that checks out. Okay, actually, kind of.
And what was crazy is I found out that this was from the Ben Esposito, the indie developer of Donut County, a game with incredible dialogue and writing, very funny dialogue.
Donut, but I will say this:
very different.
Donut County is a game about whimsy, and I mean, it's all about. It's about a drone, a crashed drone.
A raccoon was mad that he broke his quadcopter, so he destroyed his town.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but I will say this, maybe that's his level of what he's comfortable with.
Because this dialogue reeks of, I watched Adult Swim anime when I was too young, and I made it my entire personality.
Oh, no, it's a weeb dialogue. Oh, no.
American weeb dialogue.
American weeb dialogue. No, I mean, that's a shame because, like I said, Donut County is very fun.
No offense to if you like this style of dialogue, it's just not.
I know, I'll say it.
It's not my thing at all.
I don't give a shit.
Oh, man, I can't. It's grating. I can't get to it. Some of the stuff that characters say is funny. I mean, I will never tire of Steve Bloom's voice because, of course, you hired Steve Bloom.
Yeah, but I mean, I'll say this. I mean, it's not something that appeals to me by any means of the imagination.
You're there for the gameplay.
Yeah,
the gameplay is king. It does not detract from the story. Does not detract from any of the gameplay stuff going on.
No cat. Okay.
No.
Well then, I'm glad that the gameplay is fun. It's a shame that someone's taste in dialogue is not. Let's talk about the other thing you've been playing that I also have been playing.
Oh, my second game of the year contender.
Yeah, it's in a borderline spot. We actually stopped talking about it so we could talk about it here. Immortality.
Yes.
Came out this week. Fascinating video game.
It was a game when we saw during some of the indie showcases at Naughty 3. Me and you were like, this looks fascinating.
So I think I've played around 4.5 hours, 5 hours of this. You've played about 5 or 6, and you did get credits.
I got credits.
Would you say, and we're going to slap a spoiler tag on this, and I'll kind of explain that. If you do not want to get spoiled for Immortality.
Let's discuss what the gameplay and stuff is before we delve into that
We'll put a timer or something. We'll put a time code down. Gameplay-wise, before we get into spoilers, the story is a investigation, a mystery of what happened to an actress who appeared in 3 different films over 3 different decades and has seemed to gone missing or become a recluse or something like that.
And you play as someone who works for a film restoration project who's is restoring these 3 movies as well as behind the scenes material and interview material from this actress to solve the mystery of a missing persons case.
Exactly. The game is based around the concept that you are watching scenes, and by pausing and rewinding and fast forwarding the scene, you're able to select things that appear in the scene that will connect to another scene. So, like, let's say a particular actor walks on screen, you can pause it, go over to it, and select that actor, and it'll take you to another scene that involves that person, or a particular object, or this, that, and the other. The game starts you off with hardly any information. It teaches you the basics of moving how to pause, how to select an item, and how to fast forward, rewind, and go by frame on the scenes, and then it kind of just throws you into it, which is not a bad thing because it allows for discovery. And I think at that point we should probably throw the spoiler tag down.
Yes.
Michael, you roll credits. I played a lot of this. I'm at a weird spot because while I love what I've played, I feel like I'm very much just stumbling upon things. I have a general understanding. I know what the film's all about. I know the connections of the people in the films.
Okay.
And I know that there is some form of I am still believing supernatural subplot going on there too, because as we talked about in the Discord when I first came across it, I played it for about an hour and a half. Was looking at a bunch of different films, just going down rabbit holes of particular people and objects, trying to, investigate what was happening. I thought it was just going to be a mystery story in that particular aspect. But then while rewinding a scene, I triggered a supernatural kind of cut to our main actress in a completely different state, hair in a weird slicked back looking hair.
like blonde slicked back, almost shaved head.
Disheveled kind of state.
Different actress.
Yeah. Talking to a gentleman with a snake.
As you do.
And from that point on, I was like, oh wow, this is something. And it was a great moment. It was one of my favorite moments in video games in a while because I just stumbled across it.
Yeah, exactly.
And you feel like you're not supposed to see this. Mm-hmm. It was very late at night, and it played into the creepiness factor because there was some creepiness already to the voyeur kind of style of this game, especially with behind-the-scenes footage and some of that stuff. But it was like, oh, I stumbled across something I wasn't supposed to see. And, it plays into the whole, old, satanic panic thing of playing records backwards and triggering secret messages and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And since that moment, I have become obsessed with, watching the scenes and then scrolling backwards and occasionally triggering things. But I've kind of hit a wall here where while I'm discovering the basics of the mysteries of the films and the people involved in them, I was like, I don't quite get what I'm missing to try to actually progress.
To solve this.
Because I'm putting things together in my head.
So it sounds like you've stumbled upon the discovering the film backwards within the film organically.
Yes.
You haven't figured out how to make that trigger. Because what I finally discovered after solving, because before I knew I knew from you that the supernatural element is the devil's in this game. I was I have not run across that yet.
Yeah.
Because I was trying to solve the personal bit, because there's a bit where in the second movie the lead actor is killed in an accident.
Yes.
So I was trying to piece that together.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I was trying to piece together.
And see, we traded notes, and you said, "Oh, I've solved this murder. I found out who killed this guy." I was like, "What?" Because I hadn't come across that. But I was like, "No." But there was also some supernatural element.
You're
here.
I saw the devil. I'm we're on two different paths here.
Which is cool that the game.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's complete. And your version of playing the game was completely valid, and so was mine. Well, from the point I triggered that backwards scene, that became my obsession of checking every single footage I had of. Is there ways of triggering more of this? And I found a bunch of them.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I found a bunch of them.
Were you favoriting those?
I favored most of them. I
Okay.
might have missed a couple of them, but I'm pretty sure. Like, the ones I didn't favor, like, there seems to be some that have just glimpses.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yep.
there are some that trigger a
See-
direct, like, conversation between her and the guy with the snake.
Okay, so before I found like the conversations, I was favoriting. I would go back on yours and favorite ones that have the ghosting image that you see for
Oh,
a
damn.
second.
I wish I would have been doing that from the get-go.
Because that's what I was doing from the get-go. Because once I figured out, I don't know if you want me to say how you do it, but once I figured out how to activate those scenes and play them back in full, that's when I went into the rabbit hole. It's like, I already favorited the ones with this ghosting effect. Then I went from here to here to here to here to here, and all of the dominoes just fell into place from that point forward.
No, okay. I might have a way. There is a couple of them that allow you to go frame by frame and catch the ghosting effect, and then select something within there.
But some you have to play it back.
Yeah.
Because they disappear when you do the frame by frame back.
And some of them I feel like I can't catch.
Yeah, I figured out how to do that. Would you like me to tell you how?
Because, and like I said, this is spoiler conversation. I would say that if I had one issue with the game, and it's not an issue, because I feel like if they were to explain it, it would ruin it. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a solution for this.
Okay.
But there was a point in which I discovered organically, oh, there is more to this. There's things hidden in the film. I need to backtrack through the film, this, that, and the other. I wish it gave me something, a little bit more information just to give me
just more
what
of
to
a push.
do now. Because I knew in my head, I was like, I need to figure out, I need to click on these scenes. I need to go deeper into this because this is the true mystery.
Okay. So let me explain how to do that. But first, if you're listening and don't care about spoilers, the main control mechanic of this game is basically you're working with equipment that is kind of a rotary editing machine where you have a dial, and the more you turn the dial one way left or one left to go back, right to go fast forward, and trying to basically I use this equipment at my work, so it was easy to like wrap my head around. Oh, I know what this machine is. So to like you basically wind it back and try to find this point where it plays correctly backwards or forwards for the right frame rate that you're using. And you're basically, because we're playing this on the Xbox version, I'm streaming this game because I don't have a Series X, but I'm able to stream this game to the Xbox One.
I don't see why it wouldn't work.
What's actually cool, though, is whenever it tries to catch back up to where we are streaming-wise, because sometimes there's like lag and falls behind, it does an effect where like it'll like get a little bit saggy and the screen will wipe. So it kind of works with the game that we're playing. So it's still aesthetically sound with the game. It doesn't take me out of it. It actually, some of the streaming stuff actually keeps me involved. But anyway, so in order to trigger those scenes, I found out I had to go to like the point where they start and then use my control stick to wind it just right to play it at the correct speed, and then it'll play that scene.
See, I must not have a full grasp on the winding mechanic because I use my control sticks to go forward and back. But I don't seem to be like. Do you click multiple directions to get it? Because I've double clicked it sometimes. For me, it was
I used the. It's hard for me to discuss it without actually like showing it because it took me so long figuring out a scene that had multiple of these back and forward to go deeper into the film. So I basically Sorry, audio listeners for this, but I took my controller and like on the left stick, I just started like on one side and was just trying to kind of massage one point of it, trying to like pick a lock in a Splinter Cell game.
So basically,
to try to figure out the right speed to allow the scene to play.
So I am on the right track.
You are on the right track.
Okay. So I did not have a full grasp on that mechanic. Now I will say this, and I don't think this is given. Yeah, this is something that I think you had the advantage of is you have a deep understanding of filmmaking. You have you've done this as a career.
The fact that they have like the slates and then use like and there wasn't a slate at the beginning of the scene, like, oh, they forgot to do that here. And then they did the tail slate where they have the slate upside down. It was like, they did the focus on that. This has all of my like film knowledge. I was geeking out playing this game going, they got everything right. The fact that like the I'm going off on a tangent here. The fact that like the footage looks like it was shot and actually filmed in a 60. They were using movie techniques that were in the 60s, like the matte painting background with like the hidden door to where they could escape from, but also blended with the scene. I was losing my mind at that stuff.
I sat there and like one time, my wife was sitting beside me, and they do the click thing. What is that called?
Slate.
The slate. And he had it upside down. And she goes, "Is that something? You know, it's upside down." I said, "I bet you that's a film technique."
Yeah.
And me and you don't get it, but I said Michael probably understood why it's upside down.
I was like, so because when you slate at the so when you're editing footage, especially in the old days of film when they were all like strung together, you would know that if the slate was right side up, that was the beginning of the shot. But if the slate was upside down, that means you slate at the end of the shot, and that goes backwards.
See, it's a love letter to filmmaking.
Oh, that's why this is probably my game of the year.
I sat there.
I love this game.
I figured you were getting a lot more out of this than I was, but I will say this: I loved it. I still loved the game presentation, and I still love the fact that they did a wonderful job with the marketing in this thing. I did not know it was a supernatural game. I watched the trailer. I figured there was supernatural, like there was creepiness to it, but it was creepiness to like what a crime drama is advertised as.
Yeah.
Well, like this woman's gone missing. There was a crime or something has happened here. So I was like, well, we're going to investigate shady Hollywood and find out what happened to this actress.
And there's some of that there.
There is a lot of it there.
There is a lot of it there. And as you get further into more of the supernatural mystery, there is some like moments that legit terrified me. It's so great.
I had a great moment when I first discovered, because that was my first discovery. You came across it because you finished it, I'm sure. It was the
I actually haven't seen the scene you're talking about. I beat the game and haven't run into that scene. I found others.
I had my first clue that something was wrong, in which there was a random scene in which she gets a nosebleed, and I favorited that scene. Mm-hmm. It was during the 90s movie.
The 90s movie. Is that the scene where she's at the... there's a mirror and a dress in that scene? Yeah.
She triggers...
There's a lot of paths to get to that scene. Like, you can get there through the fruit. You can get there through a mirror. You can get there... Because that's how you, like, really connect scenes is through, like, imagery.
And that's how one of the reasons why I know that I've reached a point that I should know the trick by now. Because I'm starting to reach back into scenes because I'm finding
that you've already gotten.
And so I was like, I'm missing something here. But that scene, I went through that scene. I think I clicked on her when that happened. And it went back, and I had ended up back there, but at a slightly, it looked like I was a little bit farther along, so I went to the beginning. And I was like, oh, this is a different scene. Like, I'm seeing the beginning of this scene. Let's watch it and see what leads up to it. Mm-hmm. And I was actually sitting on my phone taking a note, because I was putting some notes in my phone. And I got a weird sound cue in my headphones. And I was like, what the fuck? And I looked up and I saw like I missed something, I thought. So I backed up. And when I backed up, it cued this scene where the scene cuts and the two other people are there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, whoa. And it's clearly not a part of the movie and clearly disjointed from like reality, quote unquote, from this film. And that was when I had my discovery this had more to it than just investigating old footage. And it was a great moment from a guy who likes horror games and stuff like that and things like that to be like, this is how you do that kind of horror experience. Because I didn't know I was supposed to be afraid. And so also I'm like, oh shit. And I think I put in the Discord, I was like, this ain't what and you're like, yeah, I saw there's a guy who got shot. I was like, no, fuck that guy. No, interact. The devil's
right here.
The devil's in here. And you're like, what do you mean the devil's in here? I was like, go back in the film. It's also the point in which a friend of the show, Nick, decided to uninstall the game because he's like, not for me.
But I think you played like a minute when I don't understand what this is.
No,
and it was like, nope. Okay,
but then when he learned that there was a supernatural element to it, he's like, not for me. But okay, so I think I know how to finish the game.
It'll take some like finagling, but once you figure it out, I was able to trigger that basically on command, maybe a few tries to get it right for each.
Are we looking for like a finish screen?
Yes, you will know. You will know the end when you see it.
Okay, I am excited. I'm gonna probably go home tonight and try to finish it because I have a shit ton of footage. And I have a ton of those that I know just pop into my head right now that I saw ghost images of, but I couldn't actually. I just thought they were short film cuts.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna go back in and try to see.
My advice: go in, favorite those, and then connect those together. And have you seen? I will say one thing.
Connect those together.
I mean, like when I say connect those together, like go one after the
Oh,
other.
okay, yeah. No, I do have some of them favorited, just for the investigation purposes. I was like, this is important. I need to favorite it. But my problem is sometimes I didn't favorite things because I would fall down the rabbit hole of clicking something else and and kind of be like 4 or 5 clips in before I realized, oh shit, I should have favored this one and I didn't go back. But the game's fascinating. I'll
ask one more question.
Yes.
Did you get a scene that feels like the final one in sequence? I don't want to be spoilery just in case you haven't seen it, but there's one that you're like, if nothing pops in that you're like, oh, this is probably the last thing, and chronologically, then you probably haven't seen it yet. So
I don't think so. I mean, I've got what I believe is the last things from like. I am deep into films, the scenes from the 90s, and I have investigated heavily the movie from the 80s or the 70s.
Yeah.
The one which is the crime drama. That one I have, very deep understanding of what was happening on the set there and who was doing what. Same thing with the movie from the 90s. I got a lot of stuff from the first film, but I did get the scene, like I have the Carson interview thing.
That was the first thing I found.
Well, there was one, but then I got the second one. So
I got both of those early because I connected the interviewer's face.
Yeah, I
because
did
my
that.
goal was like, I'm going to try to piece together all of these and then work my way into the films.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll say more on this discussion for when you finish it because I need to talk to you about this.
I feel like I am close.
Yeah,
I'm very, very close. I feel like now that I have a grasp.
You'll hit a 2-hour rabbit hole where you'll just keep unraveling and unraveling. You'll keep pulling that thread at that point.
And like I said, I do have some of them. I've triggered, I believe, 2 of them.
Okay.
That like full-on conversations between the woman and the guy. So we'll see. I'll go home tonight. Now that I am told that I'm on, because I was like, I am on to this. Like, what am I missing here? I knew I was missing something, and basically dialing it in. I need to focus more on dialing in those sequences to be able to get them correctly.
Gotcha.
Fascinating video game.
I love this game so much, and I'm going to play more of it to unravel more of the mystery because I don't think I've solved all of the personal conflicts. Yeah. The supernatural stuff might be solved, but there's a lot of personal stuff.
We didn't even talk about that. There's tons of personal. You can fall down the rabbit hole of discovering what happened on these sets and what happened between these people, and that's just as compelling as the supernatural stuff. Like, you could play this straight and just want to learn about the kind of the shady underbellies of what was going on here. Also, just last thing I'll say, wonderful performances.
Fantastic. Yeah.
For we've come so far from full motion video games. Night Trap, this is not. But no, just wonderful performances. The main cast of, I would say, 4 or 5 people are wonderful, and our main character, her facial expressions are just great, especially because this is a game that promotes you to look so deeply at what people are doing because you're trying to get tells for things that might trigger a sequence you can click. So, like, she's a wonderful actress. I don't know.
Oh, very, very well.
Yeah,
yes.
They're all very, very good.
Into spoiler talk.
Yeah, into spoiler talk. But if you're not in the spoiler talk, you just joined us back, play that game. It's wonderful. We'll talk about it again next time once I finish it, now that I have a good grasp on how to do so. Other than that, I've made it very... I've said a lot that I've had a tough little drought here. Other than Immortality, not a lot of new stuff coming out that I'm excited for. There's stuff that's coming, but right this minute, I'm like... At that point, I'm just looking, I'm like, man... We need to get some of these releases out here because there's good stuff on the pipeline, but
These are
damn, I'm feeling bad.
These are stuff I always go back and play classic games like during these droughts here.
Yeah, but I do that, but I don't come on here and talk about a lot of that because I feel like I'm talking about a game that I'm just revisiting something or something like that, you know. I will give my standard tabletop update. Flesh and Blood's got a new character coming out in November. That's very exciting. He seems broken as hell. Also, third game of Kill Team was played on Friday. Once again, did not go my way. I love Kill Team. I love Warhammer Kill Team. I love playing Warhammer Tabletop. I've not yet won a game. Goddamn, got myself in some trouble. Did not go the way I had hoped. But that's okay. I spend many, many hours staring at stat screens. I have a plan for my next game. I'm also painting a new team because when in doubt, just make a new team. But
the old team is dead. Long live the new team.
Yeah, it doesn't help that my opponent, friend of the show, Nick, is playing a broken team. And I will say that loud and clear. That received new rules, intercessors, Space Marine intercessors, and they're broken as hell. I need a patch, GW. Send out the new... I like how Tabletop does patches because it's just a PDF. It's like, all this shit's been replaced. So I'm looking desperately for a PDF from GW anytime to help me out here.
To nerf those dudes.
Or buff veteran guardsmen. It'd be really nice if my guardsmen wouldn't die by the third turn.
I need to finish my Harley Quinn team.
You only got to build one more, and you'll be set.
Okay.
Yeah, you only need one more built, and then you can play with them at least. But like, if you ever want to come over and play with us, we have multiple teams to pick from. Nick has 2 teams he's running.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And I will by this time next week have the last of my other team painted, so I have 2 teams up and running. They play very, very differently.
Okay.
But yes, the tabletop discussion. Video games we have been playing, though. One thing that did compel me in the video game world was Spec Ops: The Line, because we finished that for this show. That was a wonderful segue, by the way. It was long, it was complicated, and it made no sense. Spec Ops: The Line. We started off here in Chapter 10. So the first part, 1 through 9.
We just had our first conversations with the main villain who's making us do some trolley problems.
Yes, lots of trolley problems.
Now we gotta go to the tallest building to kill the guy.
I forgot when we were talking about this, I forgot multiple sequences from this particular part of the game. When I think about Spec Ops: The Line, I think about, and I have the sequence of events that leads up to the white phosphorus pretty much memorized. And then I have what is the ending of this game. I would say the direct assault on the tower.
Because those seem to be like the defining moment. The reshaping of what you think of the game happens at those 2 moments. Like the white phosphorus scene being, I would say, the direct midpoint of this game. And the ending, of course, tying all that you do like back together.
Yeah.
Everything from that point on, tying it together. While the white phosphorus scene basically says, you can't go home anymore.
Yeah, it's you've passed the Rubicon. You are no longer, you are walk away from this.
Yeah, it's literally midpoint in storytelling where the midpoint of a story is supposed to be the point where a character just can't walk away from it and go back to who they were as a person before this started. And the ending is just multiple twists of the knife that makes you think, oh, this entire mission was pointless. You should have stayed home. Everything would have been a lot better.
Yes.
Because now you didn't just ruin your life.
You ruined millions of people's lives. But I will say this, if there was a fault to this game, while Chapter 10 and Chapter 11 are very good, you could probably edit them out and not miss a ton. So let's jump into it.
Okay.
Chapter 10, we have, kind of survived the dust storm that ended Chapter 9. We will go and meet our next man in line of the CIA here, Jeff Riggs, who is kind of the heading up of the operations the CIA is doing here to face off against, they're kind of they're fighting the war here against the 33rd.
And
Riggs
their
is
plan,
kind of the actual man in charge. We've had multiple like MacGuffins where we thought it was the guy, and then they keep getting killed. So we finally actually meet the man in charge of the CIA operations here.
At this point, I mentioned like the tallest tower. Martin points up as like this is probably where Conrad is set in the Burj Khalifa, and of course, any action movie or game set in Dubai will always point to that tower.
Yeah, it's iconic.
It's iconic. There's gonna be an action scene involving that tower that you know of, and more or less not really in this game.
Yeah, it's all about getting there. It's not even. It's more about getting there. It's less about what happens, when you're there.
Yeah.
Riggs is basically running a plan that, because Dubai is in the middle of the desert and this sandstorm has cut it off from everything, he's going to steal the water supply that would basically cripple, as he continues to say, the 33rd, but it's going to cripple the whole city because, yes, Conrad's committing all sorts of war crimes and this, that, and the other here, but they're also still handling like distribution of water. They're still handling some basic like civil functions,
just as they were like sheltering civilians as well.
They're not just
the last time you tried to help the civilian, it didn't end up well.
Exactly.
And now, we're just moving the water supply. No, you're
yeah.
Right away, alarm bells started going off in my head going, this is a terrible idea. This is not going to go well at all because I just know the dominant effect of how this game has been.
Nothing is going smoothly
working
in this video game.
But Martin is, for all his faults, which he's like, all right, this will work.
Yeah.
Because it has to work.
It has to work, quote unquote, because he's continuing to try to find a way to redeem this situation. He's constantly believing that he can fix things. And his belief in fixing things is just making things worse.
There is a GIF I sent to the Discord around this time that this chapter 10 and 11 is the classic SpongeBob scene where the whole city's on fire and SpongeBob says, "We did it, Patrick! We saved the city!" And I'm like, that's this entire video game.
Yes. This is a good combat sequence in the game. The whole fight to get to the water, the whole fight to secure the trucks is all very good. There's some sequences in the car park that's very good. You're shooting down like weak spots where sand's able to come down and hit dudes.
The fight in the aquatic center is incredibly engaging, but this is also where I turned the difficulty down to the easiest setting. I ran into some combat frustrations here.
Really?
Yeah. For mostly, once I got killed multiple times by the dude who just runs up through your gunfire and just stabs you with a knife and it kills you, I was like, all right, I want to see this game through to the end. And plus, it wasn't so much the difficulty of the combat encounters, it was the checkpoint placement.
Yeah, checkpoint placement is not great. So yeah, if you die, it will usually take you farther back than you want to go. Like, it will take you usually back to the beginning of the sequence. So if you die in the aquatic section, you'll go back to when you enter that museum.
Yeah, so
when you die in the car park, you go back to the beginning of the car park. It doesn't checkpoint where you think it would.
It's not encounter based. It's more, as you said, section based. So it got to the point where inside the aquatic center, we were doing like the sniper fight all the way across the way. And then I got to the point where like you wrap around where like the concession stands is and you do like the fight there where there's not a whole lot of cover and you're just running and get stabbed. I got to that point 3 times, got killed in different ways, had to go back. And like, that is not an easy fight to get to like around that corner. You're going to die there multiple times too. So it was at that point of dying, getting at that far and then dying back at like the sniper fight where I'm just like, I'm just going to crank it down.
There's nothing wrong with playing this game on easy or difficulty because I would say you're there for the story first and foremost. Mm-hmm. But the combat, like I said, I think you probably started off on normal, right?
Yeah, actually I started off on hard.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Originally. And then after like the second or third real the second chapter, I realized these checkpoints aren't great. I should probably crank it down a little bit.
Also, the combat, like the enemy is capable. Like the game's enemy is very good. Like the RPGs will take you out with one shot.
The minute you pop out of cover, all of those dudes are gonna zone in on you, and you're gonna get shot from 5 different directions and go down in like 2 seconds.
At this
flat.
point, you're dealing with a lot of like the heavy armored guys. You're dealing with guys with RPGs. You're dealing with snipers. There's a lot of things that can kill you quickly. So there's nothing wrong with taking it down a little bit. I think I played the game on normal, and even then I still had a couple of sequences where I died multiple times, mostly from situation where it gives you cover, but cover that's destructible, and you don't really have a lot of time to move to a better fighting position, or places later on in the game where you'll be fighting over long distances in the desert and you can get hit by the RPGs. And nothing's worse than everything going fine and then an RPG coming out the left side of the screen and smacking into you and dead walker. This whole sequence though is good. It's visually very interesting. Fighting the aquatic center is good. All of that's fun. When you take the trucks, it triggers a on rails sequence where you're fighting through, destroying stuff with a grenade launcher. And there's a couple of things I love about that sequence because you steal the trucks and you're like, woohoo, we got the trucks. And as you pull out, civilians and people like that screaming at you and yelling at you like, what the hell, you're taking a whole water. And then you're doing this massive firefight over stealing this water as they're just shooting up the trucks.
And as like bullets fly into it, water's going through the holes and I'm thinking this is a terrible plan. But before that, Riggs says, there will be a price to pay for this water. I hope you're prepared to pay it. So,
it all just the only thing you do is you take a city that from having water and you just basically destroy the water in a long, elaborate way because the convoy does eventually get destroyed and stopped, and there's it's a big sequence where that happens, and as you Walker comes to alone because the whole convoy is wiped out. Mm-hmm. And the civilian population just desperately trying to get what's left of the water pouring out of these destroyed trucks, the last water they're going to see. I believe at that point it's announced over the intercoms in the city that there's only going to be enough water for like 4 days.
In 4 days, the city will begin dying of thirst.
Yeah. So literally, you just damned the whole city. And there's a sequence in which...
But we stopped the 33rd. We did it. Mission accomplished.
And that comes too as Walker moves through the destruction that him and Riggs have done, which is a good, powerful sequence as the civilians are yelling at you and screaming at you, basically because they know you're the one who did it.
They're taking any objects they can find and like,
desperately trying to get
holding it on the truck, filling whatever they can with it, bathing in it one last time.
It's desperation.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? The water's running out. What do you do naturally? Shower. Cover myself in it.
You find Riggs. Riggs is under the truck, pinned, and is in the process of burning. And you have this conversation where Riggs is like, he's unrepentant. He's like, I'm dying. I died for this, but I succeeded. 33rds, I've defeated them. Slowly but surely, they will, die of thirst. And, woohoo, look at me. I did my job.
Along with you and everyone here.
Yeah, it's like you just damned all. And the big thing is, his justification is, and you can see his logic from his point of view, is that an entire American military unit or division has gone off rogue, committed God knows how many atrocities in the middle of the Middle East, and if people were to find out about what happened here, it's going to be, there's going to be repercussions that we cannot handle. That, the ward's not going to just let this fly. That if the storms go away tomorrow, and then they found out the American military division committed
took over
citywide, atrocities, there's going to be hell to pay. My job is to make sure no one finds that out. And they can't find it out if everyone in the city is dead like we told them, told the world they were. So Riggs that's his justification. It's a horrible justification, but you can see his point of view that he's, in his mind,
he thinks he's in the right.
Doing the greater good. Yeah. And there's a very classic kind of action movie sequence in which you pick up his gun and he basically is like, don't let me burn, just shoot me and let me kill me quick, or you can just leave him, you just walk away. What did you do?
I shot him.
Okay.
Because Walker doesn't have the moral high ground. If he walks away doing the, I'm better than you, you deserve to burn. No, you went along with this terrible plan. Your hands are just as dirty as his is. Even though you thought in your head you were trying to do it for noble reasons, you should have known this would have gone south. You do not have the moral high ground in this situation. Honor his request because you don't have you're not better than he is.
10 years ago, when I played this, apparently I shot him. This time, I walked away.
What's your reasoning?
My reasoning is I think Walker does believe he's better.
Oh, you're playing it like the character. Yeah. You're not. I was still playing it like myself, the projection of what the game wants me to do.
I did that.
Fell right into the game's trap.
Yeah. The older I get, the more I try to play things as the character would play them. And my belief was Walker still believes he's better than Riggs. Yes, Walker went along with this. Most likely, Riggs wouldn't have pulled off this plan if Walker and his squad didn't come along. But I could see Walker in his insanity believing that he was better than Riggs here.
Especially with where we are at the end of the game. In reflection, that decision makes perfect sense. And we'll discuss endings in a bit, but there's a way I played all the endings of this game just to see what how they branched off from each other, and I kind of have my own, based on where we're at, my own canonical ending for this game of what I think would actually happen based on the character's point of view. We'll discuss that when we get to it, but That's an interesting thing about you saying about role-playing the character.
It's a good moment, too, because as you walk away, there's the scene of he's like, what are you doing? Get back here, and then you hear him burn, and it goes for a long period of time.
Even past the point where you should be able to hear it, you still hear it? You
still are going and hearing it.
That's a good trick.
It's a haunting sequence either way. Whether you shoot them or not, it's a haunting sequence. This takes us back as we basically are reuniting with the squad. There's a big fight scene here where we provide sniper cover to save Lugo. There's a big fight scene in the mall. Just a humongous kind of big action moment. It's a lot of good combat here. Shooting with turrets across the way, covering each other. And it ends with us capturing a member of the 33rd and basically interrogating him.
I did like this combat sequence a lot, though, because this is the point where you get to the room with the blinking lights, the flickering light mannequin room, where you're shooting at the heavy, and as you do it, he is moving to a different point because you're shooting a mannequin and everything. It's the first glimpse of this game that you're losing your freaking mind and going insane.
I will say this: if you have any sensitivity to strobe lights, it can be seriously a problem here. Because even I don't have any sensitivity to that, but I was playing it in a very dark room. And so when I did that sequence, even I was kind of having to squint away and try to get it through because depending on how fast you take that guy down, it can be a long sequence.
Especially if you die like I did, had to replay that.
I didn't die, again. But it took me a while to kill him. I think I was low on ammunition for everything except a submachine gun. So it took a little bit of time to get him to die.
I made sure to pick up shotgun next time to just shotgun him, which also... the muzzle flare on that shotgun will also add some more blink lights in there.
It's a hell of a strobe effect.
Had to break for like a second after that.
Yeah,
that was like
it's a very powerful.
Hurt my eye. It does.
It's good sequence, but it is a little bit. It's heavy. Like,
There's a reason you don't see that sequence pop up more often.
Oh, if it was all
games.
the time, it would be. And like,
Yeah.
I don't remember a strong warning in front of this game. But it always, like, every game has the sensitivity.
If it came out nowadays, there'd be a button like, "Hey, do you want to turn?" There's a strobe effect later in this game. Do you want to turn that off already?
Jumping back to Immortality, one of the biggest content warnings I've ever seen in front of a video game in front of that thing.
Yeah, right.
I clicked it, and I think I sent it to you and Nick in the Discord. And it's everything from blood and gore,
sacrilege against the Catholic Church.
Sacrilege against. I looked
that
at.
One made me chuckle.
I think my caption on there was like, "We're in for a really good time, boys and girls." I took a picture of it. I sent it to everybody, and my wife was there. And I was like, "This is like a hardcore content warning."
It's not as bad as the warning makes it out to be.
Well, I looked at it. She looked at it. She was like, "What kind of game is this?" I said, "I don't know, but we're gonna have a hell of a time apparently, because it's like sexual violence, drug use, suicide." It was just kept going down. I was like, "I don't know what's not in this video game." It'd be shorter if it just put like, "Listen, no dogs were hurt."
There was an achievement called that too.
Yeah,
that made me chuckle. But going back to this video game, what would the content warning list in this game be?
Oh God, not as long as that one.
It just
maybe
says
long.
It just says pain,
suffering. The sequence ends with us capturing a member of the 33rd that kind of gives us a little bit of information, primarily on where the Radio Man is.
The Radio Man is at full effect in this chapter.
He's going in hard.
My favorite one. This is a family program. You can't swear here. We're rated E. I'm like that. That's the point where it's like they're going full meta here. Most people would laugh at the joke, but I'm like, I know they're about to do, because I talked about last time how I knew 3 elements of this game, and we've already passed 2 of them. One was the killing American soldiers. The second was the white phosphorus scene, and the third one was that it was going to be the end of this game was going to be mirror at the player. Look at all the actions you did, because we're breaking down the fact that this is a video game and you could have walked away at any time, but you still kept going because you wanted to play the hero. Was the only thing I knew. It delved much deeper into that than I knew, which was really fascinating playing it. But I think knowing those kept me from playing it for so long, going, I know basically the gist of this. But after playing it, I'm like going, I was not prepared for any of this when I thought I was, which is kind of like a commentary on this game as a whole. Like,
yeah,
you go in thinking, I got this, I understand what we're going to be experiencing here, and then realizing I was not prepared at all for what I was about to handle. I
100% agree. They do a wonderful job of hiding the cards, and even when you start to see the cards clearly, it's always a slight slip, and it's almost intentional to try to draw your attention away from something else. Walker straight up executes this guy
for no reason.
And I said, I thought to myself at that moment, I was like, my favorite thing about that sequence is he shoots the dude, has zero justification for it, really, and it's still 100% morally justifying it to himself that he's doing what he has to do. And it's like, at this point, you're like, oh yes, Walker has lost it. Like, he's fucking nuts.
This is, if you didn't realize it by this point, this should be the alarm bells going, my character's not mentally stable anymore.
Yes.
There was also a weird, like, joke in here. The soldier's number, he goes, what's your number? He goes, 867-530, and they stop him. 867-530-9.
That's a weird joke.
That's why it caught me off guard. I was like, did I write it down wrong? Did I miss it? Did I thought that was a joke? I'm like, that's such a weird thing to throw in.
It's intentional.
It has to be.
530-9. Yeah.
I was like, that's a weird call number.
Yeah.
Because I thought it took me out for a second going, did they just... Someone wrote that? Why?
Unless there's a commentary I'm missing, it's just a weird joke.
I thought that was strange.
We're going to start seeing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we are.
Walker starts to have a lot more visions on the mission, on the way to find the Radio Man. A a lot. Like I think he starts seeing like almost like the tower is set in red, almost like a scene from hell kind of thing.
Yeah, this is the point. Rooftops is the name of this chapter.
Yeah, you're basically cutting through to get to the Radio Man. Good combat sequence, lots of taking zip lines and things like that.
Inspired musical choice with Nowhere to Run.
Yeah.
It was bad. I was vibing with that song as I was shooting. I was like, I feel bad for like getting into this guy's musical choice, but this song is kind of slaps, so it works.
It kind of fits the insanity of the whole experience.
It does. Like
when you find the Radio Man,
but I want to talk about here because there was a point here where you like zip line. Sorry to cut you off, but this is the point where you zip line across and you tackle a soldier, and then it's Adams. Like you see Adams as that soldier, and I hesitated and I got shot and killed.
Yeah.
At that point,
if you do not hesitate, the guys even comment on how brutally you kill him.
Yep.
Like I think it's Adams himself comes in behind you and says like, Jesus, Walker, like, because Walker doesn't just like shoot him. He just like, I think he crushes his head.
It
multiple
brutalizes
times.
him. Like he's on the ground,
Just
like butting him with
bam,
his gun.
Bam,
yep.
bam, bam. And we talk about the executions in this game being particularly brutal.
Even before it gets like.
Here it's starting to get to the point that when you combine that with the thing Walker is doing
and saying,
it's
like,
horrifically brutal.
Because even like at the point we ended last time, you were saying how we go from military terminology.
Yeah.
Of him saying "Tango down,"
get the
target on my six, to being like, "I killed you," and like just shouting.
Like it's brutal. It's the voice is breaking, just as a guttural scream. It's less of a military information exchange, and it's more of just reveling in the deaths that are surrounding you. And that's something that continues throughout the whole game.
There's a
breakdown in military code of conduct.
For esteemed voice actor Nolan North, this might be his best performance.
It's a damn good performance.
It's great.
Nobody talks about it compared to like Nathan Drake and things like that, because Nathan Drake is a fun performance, right? He goes places with this, and he tells a lot of story just with his voice. A lot of good stuff here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we do the Adam sequence. When we find the Radio Man, there's a great sequence in which he just, he's like, oh yeah, you can have it, man. I mean, you ain't going to reach outside the storm wall. Don't you think I've been trying that shit?
I'm not talking to anybody. I'm just talking to everybody here.
Yeah, and Luco does the whole thing where they kind of bond for a second over the equipment. Like, Luco knows some stuff about this, and they're talking. And when Luco finally starts to get what he needs, just pulls out his pistol and kills the Radio Man. And everyone's like, what the fuck, man? And he's just like, what? What is this different than what we've just been? Like, there's a great sequence in which Walker and Adams kind of like tries to call him out. And he's like, what are you talking about? We're murdering people left and right. Don't act like this is somehow I've crossed the line. We crossed the line damn 2 days ago, It was that just a really good character moment because everyone's like, what the fuck? Because it comes out of nowhere. It just pulls the pistol out and they'll go having a casual conversation.
It was
and
almost...
he pulls the pistol out and shoots him in the head and just goes, and they're just like, he's just like, what? Like, we crossed the line. The line's been damn crossed.
It was almost a scene of, like, de-escalation. And then it's right back up to where it was all over again. Like, every tempers kind of calmed down. It was like, oh, wait, we can't reach past the storm wall? Oh, well. Okay, we'll talk this out. Someone almost had a conversation about what was going on. Hey, maybe we should stop this. And then, nope, that didn't happen. Yeah. We just kept going.
He's like, we're not going home.
We can't. No, there's no possible way of going home at the end of
this
thing.
Leads to us getting the helo. Big fight scene to get to it. I like the combat sequence down there. If you have a good shotgun, it's a great moment of just blowing fools away.
Walker even says, we've done this before, right? Because you're at the beginning of the game.
Yeah, once the helicopter takes off, there's a sequence. No, actually, you do the sequence when you bring down the tower.
Yeah.
Which is just a bloodthirsty moment because Adam's even like, we can leave. We're going to leave. And Walker won't leave. He won't leave until he kills everybody at the tower. It's just unnecessarily deaths. Like, everyone's like, we can get out of here. No, we're ending this. Like, they don't get to walk away from
Not
us.
until we get to Conrad.
And you see this moment.
Not Conrad.
No, I'm talking about the tower in itself. Like, you can
Yeah.
fly away from the tower. No one else needs to die. But Walker is blood drunk at this point, and you spend the entire little sequence just gunning down everybody on the tower and bringing the whole tower down.
Just shooting all the equipment, which causes like explosions happen, which knocks out portions of it. The destruction here looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's
like the way like the you have to shoot the supports of like the main radio tower and just have it all. It doesn't like fall over; it just collapses in on itself.
There's a great sequence in which you're shooting down where the pool is, and there's some speakers and stuff down there, and you see the bullets hitting the pool and splashing up as you just rake the pool side with the automatic fire. It's a great visual scene and something that in a different game would have been played as a cool moment of like getting your revenge on the enemy.
Well, that's
and in this, it's played as none of this is necessary. You're in a helicopter trying to escape. Why would you hang around and kill everybody? Oh wait, because you're not the good guy. That's why.
You talked about in a lesser game, exactly. But I feel like the whole point of this, like in a lesser game, you could have shaped the narrative to have been the heroic story. We were trying to get the water out, but then the enemy shot it down because if we can't have it, no one can. The CIA was just coming to and messed everything up when it really like we're the good guys. We can bring everybody.
We're the heroes, and there's these other bad factions, and we're just trying to do what's right. Instead,
they burned the civilians with white phosphorus before we did.
We made a mistake while they did it intentionally.
Yeah.
But
or like they framed it to set us up like we looked like we killed the civilian. A lesser narrative could have taken those out and made you come out the hero. And the fact that this game sticks to its guns throughout and makes you twist a knife in you multiple times, even to the point where the loading screen around this time has my favorite loading screen message: "You're still a good person."
Yeah. My favorite thing about all of this is also the things you just said are things that Walker tells himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Walker continues to justify the actions that he's doing in a way that a different video game, a lesser video game, would justify it. Walker is just playing that narrative in his head while we're seeing the reality of the situation. And people like Adams and Luco are there to tell us, like Adams says multiple times, we don't have to stay. Let's get out of here. And Walker's the one's like, I'm fucking ending this.
It wasn't us. These war crimes were committed by the Russians.
Oh, yeah. Looks at Activision as we just changed the flags on a real-life war crime. Boy, that played out well, didn't it, Activision? After that sequence is when we get the dialogue where it's like, wait, this isn't right. We've already done this. Because it triggers the moment that the game starts at.
The in midi-res point, yeah.
And he basically says over again, oh, wait, no, we've done this. What? And Adams just says, what are you talking about? And you go, never mind. And you do the whole sequence again inside the skyline where you're shooting down helicopters. Chopper crashes. You get another one of like the scenes from hell, basically, when you're in the red sands and those Conrad's talking to you.
The sorrow from Metal Gear Solid 3, but considerably shorter.
Yes, where you see all the death that you've brought upon the ward here.
The bodies like drowning in the sand. It's such a great, terrifying visual. There were 5,000 people alive here before you arrived. How many are alive now, I wonder, is...
It's a powerful sequence.
Yeah.
Because you've killed a lot of freaking people. Mm-hmm. When you come
the achievement spot to tell you how many hundreds of people you killed with a single gun.
Yeah.
Like, you killed 100 people with this gun. The one time the achievements are like, you... I almost wish the achievement names were, like, more pointed at you. Because at this point in the game, when you're triggering those, I wish they took a step further and made, like... Basically, all this game on a metatextual level is all about making you feel bad from, like, the loading screens to, like, the story and dialogue the characters are saying. I wish they took that one step further and made the achievement names that were like, why are you still doing this? Or something.
Well, like, in other video games, I remember, like, the first Gears of War, there was achievements for, like, 15 headshots with the sniper rifle. Here, it's like, you killed 100 people with the shotgun. But the tone of it, two different things. One's like, good job using that shotgun. The other one's like, 100 people are dead just by this one tool that we've been using? Mm-hmm. You've used a lot of tools. How many people have you killed, Walker? Like, it's a lot. it's a lot of a different context. You come to as Lugo is he's missing, and you have information from Adams who's calling for help. This triggers a big combat sequence as we regroup with Adams, and we're pushing towards Lugo. In a scene very reminiscent of moments from like films like Apocalypse, not Apocalypse Now, but Black Hawk Down, things like that. As you're moving, you're hearing Lugo is getting overrun. There's people around him. He's things are going bad for him. And when you finally do catch up to Lugo, he's in what is basically like a shanty refugee town, and is being hung not by the 33rd, by the local civilian population.
This part's chilling, especially because even going before then, you have the tents with all like the missing persons.
Yeah.
Pictures, everything. It's almost sobering. Like it humanizes even more like the civilians you're around before you realize that they're hanging your comrade that you've been through the whole game, literally through hell together. But
it shows also these are human beings. These are not just like the monsters coming out of the woodwork to grab Lugo and kill him. Like Lugo and yourself and things like that have participated in crimes against these people. And that does not justify the crimes that they commit, but it just shows the whole world has gone to shit and everyone's making horrible decisions, right? So when you show up there and Lugo's being hung, these people are hanging him because he's a part of the same group of people that have been committing God knows how many atrocities to them, and has personally participated in the destruction and theft of the entire water supply. Yeah. And will lead to the deaths of everyone in this whole city. So it's not even like a morally black and white moment there. Because when you show up, your first reaction is they're hanging our guy. They're killing our guy. But then it's like he's also the same guy who just helped kill the whole city because destroying all the water. There's the action movie kind of turned on its head moment of you shooting the rope to get him down. Mm-hmm. And as Walker tries to bring him back, I think it's a very kind of powerful moment that Lugo dies like that. Like, he doesn't die in any heroic moment. He dies being hung
as revenge
by a crowd of civilians, of angry civilians. And it's not like a glorious death. It's brutal and sad. And it triggers this amazing sequence that I even forgot about, where the crowd's pushing in on you. You are still only two guys in a crowd of hundreds around you, and as Walker just watched Lugo die, it triggers a scene where you most likely mag dump into a whole crowd of civilians, killing dozens, 100 of them maybe. They're pushing in. You saw what they just did to Lugo. Are you going to let that happen to you?
But because I'm the player, I try to be like, I don't want to cross that line, even though we cross it hundreds of times at this point. So I try to walk through them. Doesn't work. Push you back and just throw rocks at you. So I butted my gun on one of them, and the rest of the crowd scattered and ran away.
That's not how I played it.
You shot him.
Because I was playing as Walker. Yeah, I was thinking as Walker. Is that the moral way to do it?
No.
Yeah. No, your way.
My way. Yeah.
Of a non-lethal attempt to defuse the situation. At that point, that's not what Walker would do in my mind. Because Walker, when Lugo dies, the look in Walker's eyes as he stands up.
I want blood for this is what his eyes.
The craziest thing was I was also equipped at the time with like the light machine gun. So when I shot, it killed 20, 30 people as they run. And there was a great moment where Adams shoots too. Like, you both do this. Adams doesn't even give you shit for this. But as you mag dump and kill all these people, you now have to walk over the bodies of all the people you just shot.
Oh my God.
And it's this slow moment of rage-filled blood, out for blood, and then having to walk by all the consequences what you just did.
It's the reflection. It's like that moment in the first part where we accidentally killed that civilian in the firefight.
Exactly.
But times 100.
Yeah, times 100, and it's a messed up thing, man. You know, and other video games have tried to do sequences like this before, and I think they just miss the context of lead up, right? You know, you talking about sequence like the Modern Warfare 2 mission, No Russian.
Mm-hmm.
That's done for shock value, is what that's done for, and it's pushing a narrative of a story. But the fact that you are playing that sequence is done for shock value.
There's nothing else in the narrative that reaches that
And there's
level.
no build up to
Yeah.
what's leading to it. Here, they're trying to give you almost a weird justification for doing it. So when you do it, you have the moment of, oh shit, what did we just do? You know, because everything's revving up. Adams is yelling at you as you're trying to bring Luco back. You know, they'll walk. We gotta do something. We gotta move.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're closing in here. They're boxing us in. They're behind you now. You can't go back where you came from. And so when you come up and you just watch your friend die, this guy you've just been through hell with, and you come up and you face to face with people who are threatening and throwing rocks at you and coming closer, it's trying to get your blood up for revenge. And then you have that moment, and now you gotta live with what you just did by having to walk by all the dead bodies of people that you just murdered. You know, it's a more Craftsman attempt at that kind of sequence than anything I've played has ever tried to do. And also because it shows the justification for, not the justification, but the consequences
Walker's reasoning.
of that.
Yeah.
It's Walker's reasoning, but also it shows the consequences of Walker's reasoning. Oh, do you feel there's nothing just badass about it. It's just brutal and it's just murder. And that kind of willingness to show the light on it is why I think this game is so effective. It's willingness to point the camera back at you and be like, look what you just did. You just shot all these people.
Mm-hmm.
Was that necessary? Did you have to do that? Could you have done what you did? Smack somebody with the rifle, and yeah, you hit somebody in the head with a rifle, but you didn't kill all of them. Could you have shot above their heads and ran them off?
I don't know.
Don't know. But you chose this option. Live with it. It's an interesting... I applaud over and over again this game's writing.
It's such a... And the fact that, like, I think it speaks more to the volume that the choices inevitably don't change anything. You're in the same spot that you were. Even though you tried ultimately to be a good person, it still led you here.
Yeah.
There's no escape from this at all.
It's the moment you walked into Dubai, your fate was sealed.
Welcome to Dubai is a
Welcome
phrase.
to Dubai, gentlemen.
There's one more instance of a welcome to Dubai moment in this game too.
Yeah.
And like each time it's like as you ascend deeper versus like, hey, we're here first off, versus we've reached the midpoint of this insanity and now we're like at the end.
Welcome to Dubai is almost like you're never leaving here.
It's the Hotel California.
Yeah. It's like
check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Yeah, welcome to Dubai, gentlemen. Your fate is now forever tied to here. This triggers the scene. Adams and you are pretty much not even talking at this point, and you're basically leading a direct assault on the tower to kill Conrad. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is now just revenge.
But even like when they do have dialogue, Martin and Adams to each other, they sound like they want to kill each other, and it seems like their only point is they want to kill Conrad together. But otherwise, if there wasn't Conrad, they would strangle each other in the desert.
I think Adams even makes a statement where he says, like, we'll deal with this when we're done with Conrad.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like me and you will settle our problems when Conrad is dead.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend at this point. Like, you let us here. I want to kill you, but we're too far into this to just stop now. Because of you, I have to see this through to the end, and I hate you for it, and I want to kill you for it.
Yeah. Lots of visions here of hell-like sequences of the burning, sky and the bodies piling up. We trigger a sequence in which we get another vision One of the heavies busts through a bunker door, and it's just Lugo yelling at you. And he yells at the end, "The only villain here is you."
Mm-hmm.
And which is just at that point it's just beating the hammer over your head. I like the fact that even after that moment, though, while you are probably at this point aware of what they're trying to tell you, Walker continues to justify everything.
Even now, it's comical at this point.
Yes, but it's just a refusal to recognize. He can't mentally handle recognizing what he's done. So he's just, instead of trying to accept any accountability, he's just continuing to go deeper into denial. Adams dies, basically holding off the 33rd so you can make it into the tower. When Walker finally does make it into the tower, though, there's a sequence in which as you enter the tower, you pass all these fountains, you enter this beautiful lobby that's untouched, and as you approach the elevator, Conrad basically calls you up to the top floor to see him, to end this.
Mm-hmm.
And as you enter the elevator, there's remnants of the 33rd there who salute you and officially announce that they're surrendering to you.
Dubai is yours.
Yeah.
Not the 33rd is Dubai is yours.
Yes.
Like, you took over the city.
Congratulations. And as you enter the elevator, you come upstairs, and this is where everything comes to an head.
I wrote down a lot of lines here. You did what the storm could not. You killed the 33rd. You feel like a hero yet? Such a great... I talk about twisting of the knife multiple times, but that's literally what this is over and over again.
You most likely walk straight up to talk to Conrad, but there's a couple of notes and things like that in the apartment.
Oh, really?
That if you go find, they will. There's a note written by Conrad to his wife that very heavily is considered a suicide note almost, where he's just like, "I keep thinking about you, but I don't. I'm not coming to see you. I'll never see you again." And as you approach, Conrad is painting this massive painting of just the burning bodies of the white phosphorus that you did.
It's implied that that's the loading screens, right?
Yes.
And Conrad's artwork. Yeah.
I think it's implied.
Okay.
For sure.
Because that was a dot I pieced together while I was thinking about this game on the drive over here to record. Was like... Conrad was painting the artwork. What was that? I was like, oh, that was the loading screens. Oh.
I think it's implied. If it's not,
it didn't hit me till later.
If it's not, I feel like it definitely falls in line with that kind of mentality.
It's an interpretation of it, at least. So.
Yeah, for sure. You meet Conrad. Conrad and you have a long conversation where Conrad just basically tells you, are you happy with the way this went? How do you like the photo? It's a very calm conversation where every time also Walker tries to put things on Conrad instantly turns it back around. It's like, I didn't do that. You did. And
I was never here.
I was never here. And there's the wonderful sequence in which Conrad's like, well, come out and meet me.
Mm-hmm.
And Conrad's gone. And out on the patio, overlooking the highest point in the city, one of the highest points in the ward, Walker walks out, and sitting in a chair is a mummified body in a uniform of Conrad, where we learn that Conrad killed himself. And this is when we get the big moment, the would you kindly moment almost, of realization that Conrad, no one's been talking to Walker. When Walker broke, the moment he found the bodies that were burned of the command staff, of Conrad's command staff. And when he picked up that radio, there wasn't even a battery in the radio. And he's been talking to himself.
From our first conversation with Conrad, Martin's insane need to justify stuff created a villain in this game.
Yes.
When the real villain was you.
It makes it even worse because you could have walked away any time. Because there was no one there. There was no one to kill.
There was no one there to report what happened. There was no one there to... The point is there was no one there.
Yeah, and you've been behind all of this. And it shows a whole week, replay of all the sequences of events that Conrad has put you through, quote unquote, from like the two men hanging under the underpass to multiple conversations you've had with Conrad where Walker and Adams are there and they're like talking to you and asking you like, what's going on, man? Like it puts new light into their like realizations that you are going off the deep end.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there was no one to get revenge on. Like there's no one.
Even like the platoon you've been fighting for the entire game, what's left of them? Like 6 dudes in a room. That's it.
And like who haven't even been reporting to anybody. Like Conrad's been dead. Like these guys haven't been being led by some evil, general that you were trying to get to. They've been on their own. That's one of the reasons why they've been doing all the crazy stuff they've been doing.
And even like things that you thought like the whole civilians hanging upside down, those were already dead bodies. You weren't saving anybody by shooting more enemies and playing the hero. That could have been a point you could have just turned around and walked away, because they didn't start shooting until you started shooting. Yeah, they weren't out to get you.
That you triggered that whole.
You
moment.
escalated that situation whenever you thought Connor was saying, "I have guys lined up sights on you." At that point, my interpretation was they couldn't care less about you until you fired shots, and they're like, "Oh, it's those dudes who bombed the civilians. Yeah, shoot those dudes." You escalated every situation.
You stole the waddle. Yeah. You were not fighting Conrad. When you stole that waddle, that was entirely the CIA's attempt to cover up what happened here. There was no war between you and Conrad at that point.
So at this point, Conrad points the gun at you, even though you know he's not real, and you're given a choice.
If you point the gun, you're staring at a reflection. Mm-hmm. If you point the gun at Conrad, it's your reflection pointing the gun. If you point the gun at yourself, the reflection just moves the gun under your own, head. Yeah. At this point, the game branches into there's two choices here, and then there will be multiple choices depending on which one you pick. Mm-hmm. So if you
4 endings in total.
Yes, if you do choose to shoot yourself
or let the clock run out, which is what I try to do, because my whole logic was, if Conrad's not real, no one's pointing the gun at me, that will dispel him from my mind. But I also won't take the revenge route and shoot him, so I'm just going to let it play out. And instead, that resulted in the immediate turning the gun to my head in a moment and then shooting myself.
The way I take that is that if you shoot yourself, it's Walker coming to the realization of what he's done. Mm-hmm. If you let the timer run out, Walker is shooting himself almost as Conrad. He's at that point so successfully created Conrad in his own head.
It's his last sense of justification. Exactly. Like, I'm not going to... It's the whole, I'm better than you, I'm not going to kill you, you're going to kill
Conrad
me.
Killed
to prove
me.
A point. Yeah.
If you choose to shoot Conrad, at this point, if you shoot yourself, the game just kind of echoes out that you're dead on the...
You see the full distress call as the beginning game, because you heard Dubai lost, evacuation is what you basically hear, and then you hear the whole message is like, Dubai is lost, we cannot evacuate, no one come and get us, is basically what it is. Dubai is lost. Yeah. The 33rd is destroyed. Basically...
Yeah, it basically says that this is a dead city. Because it is at that point.
Don't come here.
Instead, if you choose to shoot Conrad, the game will cut a few days later
to 16th chapter, the epilogue,
in which an American military column or family arrives and out stumbles Walker wearing Conrad's dress uniform.
His
top.
like military drab, yeah.
And there's this great sequence in which it plays out two different ways, in which the convoy gets there and they're trying to talk to you. Like they've got guns on you, but it's more of like they think you're so shell shocked that they're trying to like talk you down because they recognize who you are. They're like, Captain Walker, just put the gun down. Come here. We're here to get you out. What happened here? Because they're all in the dark. At this point, they don't know what the hell happened.
Like the storm has ceased at this point, so they were able to get in.
Yeah, and they don't know and they're almost like they feel pity for you. Like, look what this guy's went through. Like he survived this. You can comply, put the gun down.
Yeah,
and they'll echo you into a Humvee, and you'll escape Dubai. But there's a conversation about how you're escaping Dubai, but then you're not. Like everything that you are is now left here in Dubai.
The line is, I don't know how you could have survived this. And Walker says, who says I did?
Yeah. Dubai, Walker is almost unrepairably broken by the experience. Or you can shoot that column.
And this will play out in one of two ways.
Yes, it was a particularly brutal kind of moment there because usually you're going to shoot the guy who's trying to come over to you to get the gun away from you. And you can survive that or you can die. If you die, you basically die looking up at the sky and you're like the last true casualty of Dubai. Because as troops are kind of walking up to you and like they do a great job of playing how they walk up to you. It's nothing like triumphant. They're walking up to you like almost like in shock themselves.
Like, what happened to this guy?
What happened to you? What just happened to us? Because you're wielding an automatic shotgun, so you blow people apart when you hit them. So it's like, oh shit! Like,
what went down here?
What happened? Where are we? What hell did we just walk into? Or you can survive the entire fight on the convoy, in which you walk up to the last surviving members who says, like, Captain Walker, like, what are you doing? And he shoots him and says,
takes his radio.
Takes the radio and says, welcome to Dubai, gentlemen. And walks back inside.
Cue the helicopter shot of him walking back in as the music plays. The ending, the last shot, the last line, the ending of the movie.
Yeah.
Roll credits.
To me, the true ending of the game, what I choose to pick, is actually that ending of the successful destruction of the column in that moment of Walker just being like, because it's almost like at that point Dubai is like it's a place where we'll suck up, just continuing to suck up souls and misery. And Walker's last line of "Gentlemen, welcome to Dubai" just says like, this is never ending. There is nothing for anyone.
Someone
here.
will have to come and put me down, and then the cycle will just continue anew.
If someone puts me down, who knows if they don't just end up like I did. Or you could say the ending is Walker shooting himself on the tower. Is my opinions.
That's interesting because my canonical ending is Walker. What I see is like the true ending after playing all four of these is that when Walker shoots at the convoy coming to get him dying at the stairs of the Burj Khalifa, and because you get a line there, I believe it's Conrad, that says, "There's a line men like us have to cross. If we're lucky, we do what's necessary, then we die."
It's the concept that like now with the death of Walker, it's the official end of all of this. Walker dying, everyone involved in what happened here is officially dead, and now this is over.
Walker doesn't get the justification of killing the villain that is himself. It's him dying at the hands of people who's not, relatively speaking, whose hands are clean of this whole Dubai situation.
I mean, these guys, when we see them, they're not members of the 33rd.
No.
This is a relief unit. They don't even know what the hell's happening. They probably just drove through a city where people are hanging from light poles and they don't know what the fuck is going on. So these
overturned water trucks, starved and thirsty civilians laying in sand. You can only imagine what's going through it, and then seeing this one man
who
alive
is,
at the end of all this.
Yeah, they're like, well, this is the man who will bring clarity to this.
So if you shoot at nothing and they shoot you down, then it becomes like kind of like the end point of the story, going, we can see what happened here. No one is clean coming out of this at this point.
I think it almost kills the whole story itself. Like, no one will ever know. When Walker fires upon the column and they kill Walker, it's almost like no one will ever know what happened here. Because it's like the last person who could tell us what happened to Dubai when they found him was gunned down in the street.
I could see it almost like Walker accepting, even more so than shooting himself, accepting who he became, which was the villain. Like, letting himself die by firing squad. Like, this is his trial. He found himself guilty, and now he's being executed by the American military.
There's so many
that he killed
options.
that he killed so much of.
Yeah.
Going through. So,
or you could look at it as, at this point, it's not even Walker, it's Conrad, and him dying in a hell of bullets is his last grip on Dubai. Because it's the Conrad that Walker makes up in his head, right? It's not even the real Conrad. So it's like his last refusal to give up Dubai, and it's taken from him, or it ended. And with the death of Walker, it's the official ending. But the crazy thing is, all of those endings work.
Yeah. They all have different themes of what we think ultimately this game is about. Like, if we take the suicide approach, the story becomes Walker not being able to live with who he became, or also it becomes another interpretation that would be him stubbornly clinging to the fact that he's a good guy, and by killing himself, he's letting Conrad kill himself. If the firing squad killing him ending, it could become Walker accepting that he's gone too far, or it's him letting Conrad, that's now become him, face the firing squad. If we let Walker escape Dubai and ride off, the story becomes like Dubai and the situation around Dubai was poison, and getting Walker out of this possibly gives him another chance. At the end of the day, does he deserve it? We don't know, but that's not our decision to make.
Maybe you could justify that ending if you did successfully play like as many of the more options the best you could. But I think that's the thing. It leaves enough open for interpretation that it really is effective.
You might be able to cling to hope on that ending of that Walker was a victim of the situation. There was no good way to handle that.
No one walking into Dubai was ever going to come out
clean.
And
the last one, we talked about, the cycle continues anew with if Walker kills all of the platoon coming to get him, and the welcome to Dubai gentlemen, the cycle starts anew. He's living in Dubai basically as a corrupt king. Someone come and kill him and then take his spot.
Yeah, it's just Dubai is a hellhole that will suck.
Maybe they'll realize
it will break your morality. This city will break you.
Because if someone were to go through and try to kill Walker and sees all the things he did leading up to it, that alone will make them angry enough to where they kill him. But if they kill him for revenge of what they did, does that make them better than him? Or will the cycle continue? Will that mind break and he'll become the new
Conrad? Conrad is almost not a person; he's an idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful ending.
And the fifth ending is you might be thinking, oh, there's a hidden thing. The creator of the game director says there's a fifth ending of the game. It stopped playing halfway through when you realize you're a bad person and just walk away from it. Do the thing of being like, I can't push forward anymore.
Which is probably the only more ending.
yeah, I'm not playing this anymore. You can't.
When Adam says we can go home, shut the game off and take it as you just went home.
Right, and turn the game console off right now. You'll hurt your eyes playing too close to the TV. In a game that that has me thinking Metal Gear Solid 2 is gonna hold a place in my heart, and Spec Ops: The Line is gonna be one of them because
It's a great game.
the story I greatly enjoyed in this game. I'm still grappling with if I like the gameplay more, would that ruin like the message of the game and everything? But ultimately, after playing more of these sequences, I'm like, no, I kind of wish that the gameplay was more like at least gave me like better checkpoints and everything, so I wasn't more enticed to play at a harder difficulty, play it more strategically rather than just play on easy and can like just escape cover and mow down some dudes. So
It's a
because we thought about it, talked about it last time, was that fun is not the word I would want to associate with the combat of this game, but definitely engaging, like being constantly engaged in the combat, never taken out of it. When I'm loading back, I'm taken out of it. I don't want that experience. And because of that, the gameplay hindered my enjoyment of this somewhat, but the story, that's why you're here.
the story is the king. Everything else is secondary.
Yeah.
I would say this is a video game that it ranks in my top 25 video games of all time.
I can see that.
And it nails it. It doesn't drop the ball at the end.
The fact that every single ending is viable and fits the theme.
Every single ending could be your canonical ending. Like I said, yours is that he dies at the foot of the tower. Mine is that he succeeds and he literally just restarts the cycle. And just welcome to Dubai, gentlemen. And that just becomes the line that who knows what walker out there might be entering the city believing that he's about to go righteously take down this tyrant. And his quest might just take him right back to where Walker ended up, or where Conrad ended up before him. It's just this city will break you. It's an amazing video game. The fact that this guy went on to write Resident Evil 7, which is another game that has a really solid story, shows this guy's chops. He's a damn good writer.
I want to see what else he has his hand in for the future.
He didn't do Village, did he?
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't delve into that.
I don't know. I need to look what he wrote also. But very good. Very good. Want to play something a little bit lighter?
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's talk about our next game.
How about a game that this game was all about the grays of the world. How about something a little more black and white?
Punching evil clowns in the face.
Sometimes we need that catharsis.
Yes.
A Batman game.
A Batman game in a world where the new Batman game doesn't look very good.
I don't know. The latest gameplay trailer has me more enticed, but we're not talking about that. We're not talking about Gotham Knights right now.
Talking about Arkham Asylum.
Yes.
Arguably, in my opinion, the best of the Batman Arkham games.
Ooh, that's a combo.
Arkham City is very, very good.
That's my favorite.
Arkham Asylum, I like the claustrophobic. I like the feeling. I like the concept of Batman trapped in the asylum with all his villains.
Yes, but I'm going to say something up front. I haven't played Arkham Asylum all the way through since Arkham City came out. I haven't played this game to completion in over about 12 years now.
I think I played it maybe the year it came out, and I think that's the last time I touched it.
And this is seen as like a trendsetter type game.
Yeah. Combat is going to be duplicated by a lot of people. It kind of does a Metroidvania style, get equipment to get new access to areas, but a lot more streamlined, not as backtracky. It definitely popularized a lot of versions of the characters. I would say a lot of people's versions of certain Batman villains are the Arkham games versions.
It created like its own canonical Batman universe.
Yeah, I mean, there was comics that were like the way the Arkham games goes is very different than like comic continuity. Like it creates its own continuity. It's a lot more willing to do more dramatic things to the Batman continuity.
Because it's not tied to like main continuity.
Exactly.
They could kind of do their own thing. There's different interpretations of the characters. Different characters will come and go in interesting ways. It's very fascinating, and I'm really excited to revisit this game after so long to see if it like holds the test of time. If the foundation was as strong as does that foundation is strong enough to hold scrutiny now 13 years after it came out?
Because I remember very openly like the beginnings of this game and this, that, and the other. To me, it was a very definitive Batman experience. I'm excited to see, because I mean, City is amazing. Arkham City is a great game. Arkham Knight, I think, actually gets a little bit of a bad rap. It's not a perfect game, but it's not as bad in my mind as people say it is.
It's one of those where the highs are like the highest highs of the entire series, but the lows are
very low.
Very low.
Yeah, it doesn't nail the landing well compared to Arkham City and Arkham Knight.
Which are more like just tight video games.
Well, also, I think placement of those games, like Arkham Asylum taking place in Arkham Asylum and being almost a horror kind of experience in like a light way. It's not really scary, but the feeling of being trapped in the asylum with all of your villains that you put here. Arkham City being almost like an escape from New York, where you're fighting in this like prison city, and then but Arkham Knight putting it in Gotham, but yet it being a completely emptied out version of Gotham, finally giving you the Batmobile and it not being fun. There's just a lot of things that were dropped. And what was the prequel game? Arkham Knights? Arkham Origins. I actually don't hate.
That's a decent game.
It's fine.
Yeah.
But I think it was
fine is a great
It's a problem where it was like compared to two very, very good games, and then comes Arkham Origin, and it's like just doesn't have the same level of craft than the other two had, but it's still not bad.
Yeah. Shall I get into some of the prep for this game?
You shall.
All right. Batman Arkham Asylum is an action-adventure game by Rocksteady Studios. Rocksteady was formed by former Argonaut Games employees after the studio closed in October 2004, following the release of 4 games with middling to bad reviews: Carve, Malice, Powerdrome, and Catwoman, the video game. The studio began work on their first game, Urban Chaos Riot Response, with Eidos Interactive for the Xbox and PS2.
I remember that game. You could tase people until they caught on fire.
It released to average scores in 2006. In 2007, Eidos attained the rights to Batman. Rocksteady developed a prototype that satisfied Eidos, so they were given the green light for a game. The first call they sent out was to Paul Dino of Batman the Animated Series fame, and was approached to write the story. He was quoted with saying "absolutely" to the idea.
There's worse people to go look at for a Batman story than the people from the Batman Arkham game. The Batman Adventure series,
the Batman animated
series.
Yeah.
They did some high quality Batman stories in their cartoon.
To this day, my favorite Batman stories are mostly in that universe they created. I love what they crafted there.
Yeah. If I'm thinking like my 5 favorite Batman stories, it's probably like Year One, Dark Knight, Dark City, which is a story that not a lot of people know about, but is the only good, like, real great Riddler story.
Some people like Hush up there that high.
Hush is fine. Hush is a great first Batman comic. But I think once you get into Batman, you realize that it's also kind of like a greatest hits kind of book.
Gotcha.
Dark Knight is still amazing. Dark Knight Returns. But then we'll probably, animated.
Mask of the Phantasm up there. Well, come
what's
on.
that? What's the Heart of Ice? Is the
Heart of Ice is the
first
Mr. Freeze,
story
in there, and
that's really
so good.
damn good. That's a lot of good stuff. Best Joker is probably animated series.
Best Two-Face is in the animated series.
Best Two-Face is animated series. I would make an argument. Best Harley is animated series.
Best Harley animated series. Best Riddler. No, not Best Riddler.
Dark Knight, Dark City. If you've never read that, they got Mike Mignola covers. It's very good.
I was somehow trying to say Best Poison Ivy in the animated series, or up there for me.
Yeah.
There's an argument there.
No, there's an argument there for sure. It's the definitive versions of all those villains.
Oh, for sure.
Like even if they're not got the best of their highlights, like it's the definitive version of them.
Talking Best Joker will be here all day, but a good contender.
My favorite Joker is animated.
Speaking of which, the team and Denny were inspired by the works of Neil Adams, who drew my favorite look for Batman, the 1970s blue, gray with the yellow symbol.
Batman with a hairy chest out there fighting dudes in the desert with swords.
Yes.
That's a cool version of Batman.
Grant Morrison and Jim Lee were also of the inspirations for this game.
There's a lot of Jim Lee in the designs.
Yeah.
Grant Morrison is interesting because I would make the argument there is Arkham, Serious House on a Serious Earth is the Grant Morrison story. I might have missed the title. It's the Grant Morrison story that takes place Batman inside Arkham Asylum. It is nothing like this damn game. I highly suggest it not being an early Batman read for you as a reader, like if you're somebody who's not read a lot of Batman, but it is fascinating as an experienced fan. But if you could maybe say that that's like somehow a inspiration here, but I would make the argument that there was nothing alike in the tones of those two stories.
I think they specifically said the idea of the story, not necessarily the execution of the story, was what was taken from that.
That was like cannibalism and all sorts of stuff in that Grant Morrison. I love me some Grant Morrison, but sometimes I can't ride with him. Mm-hmm. And that was one of them where I finished that, and I was just like, you know what, Grant?
So the goal of the story of this game was to craft an amalgamation of the best elements of Batman taken from the comics and animated series in order to form its own continuity. We touched on that. And since it was 2007, BioShock was a major influence, both in locations and don't forget those voice logs that were all the rage at the time.
They do them well here because they're all interviews with patients.
Yeah, we'll get into that once we discuss the game. But the way they handle it is a lot more different than a lot of games were doing at the time.
Exactly.
Like you weren't filling in overall pieces of like the story that was going on. You were mainly filling in gaps in like the characters and like
they were character
delving into like this specific Batman continuity. So like if they're mostly for like Batman and comic nerds to like delve into and be like, what's this version of Ivy like, or what's this version of Riddler like,
and like referencing stuff from comics and stuff like that. They're good in my mind.
Arkham Asylum was chosen as the location because they wanted Batman isolated for the story and didn't want him reaching out for help from his allies or the Batcave. And it was decided early on to bring in the smartest decision they made, bringing in Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, and Arlene Sorkin as leads for the voice cast. That is Batman, Joker, and Harley Quinn, respectively.
I would make the argument they are my definitive voices.
Oh, for sure.
Because I know that Harley kind of gets a little bit of, like, there's some Tara Strong fans.
Tara Strong does good with Harley, yeah.
I don't like her voice as much.
I forget her name, but, like, one of the actresses on The Big Bang Theory voiced...
is she the one who voices it for the Harley Quinn show on HBO?
No, I think she did it for a Batman and Harley Quinn animated movie.
The movie.
But she did a great job.
She did a great job.
Yeah.
I would make the argument, like, it's a comedic show, but the Harley show on HBO is not bad. And whoever
the stuff I've seen from that is freaking great.
It's pretty good.
All the Kite Man stuff.
Yeah, Kite Man's not bad. It's a good version of Ivy. There's Bane is amazing in that show. I love Bane. But whoever voices Harley in that show in particular, I don't think she would walk in a context like this, but it does work extremely well for that show. She's great. I think she's amazing at it.
Combat for this game went through 3 different versions. The earliest one was a rhythm game, which had players hitting color-coded buttons and rhythmic sequences during fights. This became the basis for the combat system, which when we delve into the combat system, there's a rhythm to it more than like other combat systems at the time that we'll definitely dive into. The game was developed in 21 months in Unreal Engine 3, Many ideas were cut from the game, including a playable Batmobile, more villains, and several sequences. Over half a year before the development finished, ideas for the sequel were already blooming. Because I imagine it was one of those things they created. You didn't just create Arkham Asylum. You had to create the world and like all the villains and everything. And at that point, you had the basis or where you want this story to go from
well, also,
here on
you're
out.
sitting there, I imagine, as a design team being like, wouldn't it be cool if we met this guy? Like, if we meet Deadshot, or we meet
That's a really cool
Firefly.
Mr. Freeze. He's not in the script, but we'll keep that in mind.
Yeah,
Mr.
Freeze.
I have a boss fight idea for that guy later.
You
we
know
can throw
that
in.
people were sitting there being like, what do you mean we're cutting Mr. Freeze? But, like, I could imagine it almost writes itself at one point. Because you're like, there's so many good characters there. You're like, well, of course, if we did a sequel, Mr. Freeze is going to be
The
in.
Batman mythos is so deep that once you have the foundations for a world, you can do so much
You
with
can go into your pocket there and bring out so many, like, iconic villains that it's almost like it's death of a million choices, where it's like, oh, we have 20 great villains for this game, but we also have 15 that didn't even make the cut that can be in the next one.
Batman Arkham Asylum released on August 25th, 2008 to critical acclaim. And upon release, I think that was a typo there. I think it was August 25th, 2009. I want to say. That was my mistake. Upon release, it was hailed by several outlets as being the best superhero game or comic book game ever made and sold 2 million units in 3 weeks. For a licensed game, that is insanity. The game would win several awards for its game design, voice cast, and sound design. And it is available to play on the PS3, the Xbox 360, the PC, Mac, PS4, and Xbox One.
Because there was also a definitive edition released later on, wasn't there?
There was a Game of the Year edition, which was re-released on Xbox 360. That's what I got, because when I got my 360, Arkham Asylum Game of the Year edition was one of the first games I bought for that. And what's weird is that version includes 3D glasses included, because there's a 3D mode with that game.
Oh,
if you
wonderful.
Want to play, it's a nightmare. 5-star reviews, and I will play this game entirety in the 3D mode. Anyway.
Yeah, five. Please make Michael do that. He got real quiet when he said that, but 5-star reviews, and let's get a couple of written reviews in there, and we'll make Michael play the whole thing in 3D.
And there was also the Return to Arkham remasters that were released back in 2016 for next-gen console. Last-gen consoles. Oh, my God.
But I think I'm going to be playing my original PlayStation 3 copy. That's what I'm going to be playing.
I downloaded Return to Arkham. That's on PS Plus. I downloaded that, but I thought about it for a really long time. I was like, ooh, I could bring up my 360 copy again.
I wonder if Return to Arkham is on Game Pass.
I don't think it is.
I wonder if it's cheap.
I've seen it on sale constantly for like $5. So I would check now, because if it's cheap, then...
If it's cheap, I might just get the Return to Arkham edition. If not, I'll just play the...
Because it has all the DLC. You can play the challenge maps as the Joker.
Yeah.
If you want to do that.
If you wanted to. I was never super into the challenge maps. I played some of them in the later releases that you can play as like Nightwing and people like that.
Yeah.
But I was never super into the challenge maps. It's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a really fascinating game to do.
Because this is my favorite thing to look at, like critical acclaim games at the time, and like putting them under the microscope and seeing if they are still just as impactful nowadays. Because I don't remember, like, what's crazy is I remember all of the major set pieces of this game, but the beat for beat story is completely lost on me.
I remember the ending. I remember the beginning. I don't remember anything else.
It's going to be fun. I remember the beginning especially because I had a demo on my crappy laptop that probably ran at like 15 frames a second of the first like 20 minutes of this game. I played that over and over and over again. Then when I finally got my 360, I'm like, oh, this game runs great!
I remember a couple of things, actually. I remember a couple of bosses. Yeah, so I remember more than I think I thought I would.
I played this twice when I got it in succession, and then when Arkham City came out, I left this behind. It was like, Arkham City is my Batman game.
Yeah, Arkham City is great.
I've never gone back to Asylum, and I'm very excited to finally do that. I watched a friend play it after that, but I never played it again myself.
It's going to be fascinating. I think it's going to be a good time. Let's bring it home. StayTheSave@gmail.com. At StayTheSave on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. StayTheSave on YouTube, where you can see Michael continue to get screwed over by Ocarina of Time randomized.
I only have like 4 chests in that entire game, and if I don't open anything, the run is dead. Oh, no.
Gonna be fun. Definitely check out all that. Thank you. Remember, 5-star reviews, a couple written reviews, and we'll make Michael play this whole thing in 3D glasses. Thank y'all for listening. Stay safe out there.